So there's a stylist or a style YouTuber named Millie Velikova. I think that's how you say it. And one of my clients sent me a video to watch because she had some questions about it. And I got to this video called Style versus Taste. And I suggest you watch it if you haven't yet. And I'll put the link in the show description. But she makes a distinction that's genuinely useful. Style is what you actually wear with confidence, and taste is what you're drawn to. They're not always the same thing. The distinction's real, she's right. And I got thinking, why? If you're just starting to explore the connection between your style and personality, start with the Myers-Briggs Key to Signature Style Masterclass. It's a free video, and the link is in the show description or at my website, signaturestylesystems.com. Have you quietly grown invisible just by virtue of making space for your other priorities? Well, understanding this style versus taste conflict is one of the places you can start making room for yourself again. Because when you know why certain clothes feel like you and others don't, you stop second guessing your own instincts and you know which feedback you can safely ignore. That's what today is about. So, Millie names this experience perfectly. You walk into a store and you're drawn to something bold and fun. You love it on the hanger, you love it on other people, you love the idea of it. You bring it home, put it on, and you're not so sure. Or you like it, and then your husband tells you it looks like a clown collar, which actually happened to me. Well, I have this client, I'm going to call her Jen. Her dominant cognitive function is introverted sensing, and that makes her inferior function extroverted intuition. So her dominant introverted sensing is a function that orients towards the familiar, the proven, the quietly refined. It builds a wardrobe the way it builds a life, carefully with attention to what has worked before and what feels genuinely comfortable. It's all about stability. Extroverted intuition is kind of the opposite. It's the function that reaches for novelty, pattern, possibility, and it's attracted to the unexpected or the exotic, the thing that hasn't been tried yet. So here's what happens in the wardrobe. Jen's dominant function dresses her every day. Her inferior function goes shopping. So she's drawn to exciting things like caftans and animal prints because extroverted intuition finds them genuinely compelling. They represent everything it loves: the excitement, the drama, the unexpected. And then when she puts them on, introverted sensing has to live in them. That is the style versus taste conflict. It's not a confusion about what looks good. It's a tension between two parts of your cognitive stack that want different things. I think a lot of times it shows up as a question of like, is it okay for me to wear this? Or is it wrong for me to wear this? That type of thing. And then there's an energy cost to wearing something you're uncertain about. Here's the cognitive function explanation. When you dress from your dominant function, you're operating from your area of greatest fluency. The outfit feels settled because it matches the way you naturally process the world. There's no friction between who you are on the inside and what you're communicating on the outside. Your inferior function is aspirational. So it makes sense that you're going to be drawn to things that express it. But it's also deeply uncertain, and humans hate uncertainty. So when you dress from your inferior function, that's when those doubts start to surface. The solution to the style versus taste dilemma is not to stop buying those items, But to know what their role is, define the role of those type of items in your wardrobe, and then make peace with uncertainty. Sometimes I have found that those things that I feel vaguely uncomfortable about when I put them on, if I can push myself to wear them and forget about it, they become favorites. So here's the permission structure that changes everything. Your dominant function and auxiliary functions, your top two, that's your zone of genius. To tell the truest story of who you are, that should be the majority of your wardrobe. Those are the pieces you feel most like yourself in. This is your signature style. Then your tertiary function can be the basis of your play wardrobe. Your inferior function is your accent. Throughout life, you will integrate this function into your dominant function, but it's never going to be as important to you to show up looking like that as your top two. When Jen understood this, the exotic stuff stopped being a problem. She just started treating it as the thing she wears when she wants to play, when the stakes are low, and when she has the energy to spend. And just get used to uncertainty. So, most people have heard of Myers-Briggs. You may even know your four letters, but your cognitive function stack and how to express it visually, probably not. You need the congruence code. And then here is what that looks like in practice. I want you to actually picture this. You go to signaturestylesystems.com and click the button to book a profiling conversation. It takes you straight to my calendar and you choose your 2 hour time slot. Show up to that Zoom meeting, and here is what it is not. It's not a quiz where you have to choose between two options without being able to explain yourself. You can clarify. You can say both. You can say neither. You can think out loud. All of it is useful information for me. And together, we identify your best fit type at the cognitive function level. Not just the four letters, but you understand then what the actual stack is. Which is your dominant, which is auxiliary, which ones are your backseat functions, and what all that means. And we also identify your seasonal energy during that conversation. So if you've been wondering if you're a spring, summer, autumn, or winter, you'll leave that conversation knowing that as well. At the end, you receive a booklet. It gives you the building blocks of your signature style, how to express each of your functions, and what role that function should play in your wardrobe. You also receive a digital seasonal energy color palette that supports your energy, the energy that you recognize in yourself, and the coloring that I see in you. If that sounds like what you need and now's the time, I invite you to find the link to book in the show description or at my website, signaturestylesystems.com. Here's something simple you can do this week to integrate these principles into your wardrobe. Pull out one piece you love but rarely wear, something you were drawn to but haven't been able to make it work. Then write down three things about this. What attracted you to it? How did you feel when you actually wore it? And then think about what that gap might be telling you and just journal about it. You don't have to solve anything, just notice. It's not your fault that you have felt invisible, or if you have felt invisible. Now you have one more understanding around the lack of certainty with some styles. Sometimes you just need to make peace with uncertainty, and eventually those styles could become favorites. Thanks for being here for the Signature Style Systems podcast. Have fun being you, and I'll meet you back here again real soon.